Consciousness is the substance of all that is. So, for the love of the recognition, the full knowing, the living, the being, the accepting and claiming of the promises that have been offered to us, is in resting, standing in the truth, living truth, abiding in truth. So, for the love of this fact, to know this, to fulfill our heart's desire and yearning for fulfillment, which is, of course, natural and normal. Let's take a few moments now to rest in the recognition that one already is, completely is, omnipresently, omnipotently, and omnisciently. This is, in fact, the one reality. Consciousness is all, and that's got nothing to do with any thinking. The substance that is the very fabric and currency and essence of life. Let's take a minute here in acknowledging, recognizing this, and then we'll come back for a reading. Really, for the love of God, for the love of oneness, in the recognition that because there is only one, I am that one. The consciousness that I is, not any thought, not any misperception. Misperception is the illusion, it's nothing. What I am is infallibly, inviolately all that is, and that's now. So in this session, I'd like to read with you from our delicious book, You is Awake in Heaven Now. Stand on truth 100%. There is no reason for delay. I want you to know that there is no reason any person need struggle to evidence truth. We cannot make the truth true. This is the no way. Albeit common, the truth is true. This is the one position and point of genuine awakening that very few actually hear. The truth is true. We must stand in the truth, contemplate from the truth to see truth. But every which way we try to make the truth true, we're off. And you can never actually be on from off. So despite what you may have read elsewhere or been told, it does not have to take years or decades to lift out of the material sense into the fully tangible and visible spiritual reality. We can't fail to see when we know how and we walk the right way, which is why we're so precise here, like a stuck record. The truth is simple. We need remain single-minded in commandment number 1, single-focused, in the recognition of the single fact of life. Let me state it more clearly. You do not have to continue to experience problems, especially that one major problem that has seemed insurmountable to you any longer now. There is absolutely no reason why you have to continue to struggle any more than there is a reason light would struggle to shine in a dark room when you turn it on. We never see dark fighting back against the light being turned on, do we? Why? Because darkness isn't anything. Can you imagine light struggling with darkness in a room? Can you imagine darkness doing all it can, recruiting its army of nothingness to suppress the light? It's nonsense. The fact of reality is much simpler. Where there is light, there is no more darkness. Because dark is not a thing or a substance or a block or an obstacle. It is nothing more than a simple lack of light. There never has been even a single room of darkness that is able to obscure or block or even delay light. Also, you can realize that there are not different types of darkness. All darkness anywhere in the world that you want to search is just one thing: a lack of light. We might name darkness by many different names. My dark room, your dark room, a dark kitchen or dining room or garden or town or country. But all darkness is just one darkness, and that one is nothing more than a lack of light. Can you hear deeply here what this simile is trying to tell us? The fact that we don't realize heaven is here now and see it and tangibly experience it is just a lack of truth awareness. That's not a problem. Ignorance isn't a thing, like darkness in a room isn't a thing. We need simply know the truth. Know that love, God, consciousness is all. And stand there absolutely 100% immovably in order for that to be seen and fully realized and, of course, tangibly, manifestly experienced, because awareness is experience. In the same way, we give many names to the human experience, both good and bad. Let's just focus on the bad for a moment. We create names such as illness or disease or poverty or loneliness or unhappiness or injustice, plus thousands of other names that just we just collectively call bad. So let's have bad as the umbrella term. Unwanted. But actually, in fact, there is just one badness, and that's a lack of understanding, a lack of spiritual light. Just the same way as darkness instantaneously disappears when a light shines in that place, no matter what we have named that darkness. So all bad names of so-called human experience instantaneously disappear when your spiritual light shines in the place where you are. Remember that ignorance is nothing. It's just a lack of truth awareness. We just misunderstand, and so understanding fixes things, if we want to put it really crudely. Of course, we know there are requirements. There is precision here. We stand in the truth, in true identity. There's never been another. Do you not know that the place on which you stand is holy ground? Whole, complete, and perfect now ground, and that all it takes to witness the visible evidence of that whole and perfect ground is spiritual light, which has absolutely nothing to do with any kind of effort the human sense of you can make. It is all done for you when you stand in truth. And we know that that takes commitment, consistency, and that's why we're here, of course. Because actually, literally, what you are is already the boundless wholeness and perfection of all, tangibly here, now, and always. And this is for everyone to see. Anyone can. There is no specialness about living heavenly, living reality. There's no one that has more, no one that has less, no one that's specially clever or ordained or had enough mystical childhood experiences to make it so. We can, each and every one of us, know truth now, if you want to. This is why I can justifiably assure you with proof that you no longer need to struggle in realizing your true spiritual self and boundless, infinite harmony. In fact, the message and method of the finished kingdom is that you must not continue to struggle for even a day longer. If you do, you are unwittingly the light thinking it has to struggle with darkness. This is obviously something we address almost every single session. Are you trying to make the truth true? Because that's the no way. Are you thinking that as the light, I need to struggle with darkness? Think about that. The notion really is absurd. So why do we struggle? Yes, it may have taken you a long time so far with little to no fruitage evidenced, or some fruitage here and there, but certainly nothing consistent nor 100% reliable. But let me assure you that you can and will and must change now as you become aware of and adopt the one true consciousness that you already are, that has no delay, as you realize all is here now, the sublime finished kingdom that is already being itself as the entirety of you without an ounce of effort made, nor even possible, by your human sense. Understand this: your complete, boundless, overflowing harmony of being, from the biggest and most important and urgent to the tiniest and seemingly most inconsequential matters of your life here and now, eternally, are already tangibly fully present and manifest, right where you are this minute, as everything you are, everything you have, and everything you do. Let's put this plainly: you cannot fail to know heaven, to live in fulfillment that is permanent when you stand in truth, when you accept what it is that I am. One elegant step, as we always call it. I know it may not look like that to you at this moment. Why? The only problem you have, and it has nothing to do with the apparent problem you're experiencing of whatever name you've given it: illness, disease, lack, limitation, loneliness, barrenness, depression, injustice, incapacity of any nature, safety, or security, is that the human sense of awareness is oblivious to the fact, in other words, ignorant, the literal, tangible, physical fact that you live and move and have your being in and as heaven, mistakenly named earth. Heaven is spread all over this earth, but men do not see it. Heaven and earth are one. I, earth, and the Father, heaven, are one. I and the Father are one is what Christ Jesus told us. Let's make this so simple. There's nothing woo or complex about reality. Nothing woo-woo about the fact that spirit is all in person is absolutely nothing. I, pristine, immaculate awareness, and the consciousness that is all, consciousness, another name for God, being all, are one now. It doesn't become so. It can never become anything else, actually. Emphatically and assuredly know this: It is unacceptable to continue to struggle with whatever difficulty hounds you. You simply do not need to, my friend. Now is the time to stand on truth and witness its literal, tangible, visible efficacy. Now is the time to get off the spiritual path, out of seeking, and actually live it, experience it, be truth to know truth, as we say. We're not trying to figure it out. Just because that is common does not make it the right way. It isn't. Be it. Be what you are, which you will never be witness to as long as you remain a student. Now is the time to stop being a student and start being the beer itself, being, the one that is the experience itself. The time of spiritual awakening has come. There are a substantial number of you who are more than ready to be the beer rather than continue to be a trier, a doer, a practicer, someone who hopes that by all the effort of knowing truth and meditating and silence and silent retreats and workshops and gurus and deferring to man whose breath is in his nostrils will soon have good transform their experience. There's only one way. That's why we are so single focused. Accept truth and be it, to know it. We will, those who are ready, from this moment shed the old skin of the separate and barren human self, the self that thinks of itself separate from its good, separated from God, separated from consciousness. It's impossible. Consciousness is all that you are. You can look for yourself and you will see. That's why you prove it. You prove it to yourself. No one can give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven, but no one can take them away from you. You are the light pretending that it isn't. And when you're ready to stop pretending, you're on the path to the greatness and magnitude that you've always been seeking. The self that desires to be and to have the divine fruits of spiritual limitlessness, and of course, therefore, never witnesses it and never can, and now take on the true one, already fully existing self, that is the self-contained infinity of good already fully manifest, tangible, and visible. And we're speaking to this today because when we get to our question and answer, we're again speaking directly to the complete nonsense and pseudo-spiritual garbage that is, I know about truth, but I don't know it tangibly. Rubbish, rubbish, and more rubbish. The truth is to be known, experienced, lived. That's reality. The taking on is nothing more than a realizing and an acceptance, a claiming and admitting what I am. Know and then be still. Be the stillness that is all manifest good, already fully formed here now. Be now. Be here. Your name is not stillness. Your name is not silence. When you're in truth, you are full, complete. There's no void. There is fullness and completeness. There is bliss. Then the self-contained allness of good that you already are becomes fully visible and objectified to the human sense as that sense of you rests in the effortless, totally relaxed and open, filled silence. As we've said so many times before, the thunder of silence, which Joel Goldsmith wrote an entire book about, the thunder of silence. The deep peace of my peace, the fullness of being. That is it. There is nothing more to this whole miracle self, infinite self, one self, than what we've talked about here. Be it. And you are, this very minute, the miracle of spirit visibly tangible. Now, because now is the only time. There's no actual time. There is only the eternal present. There's no was, after, yesterday, tomorrow, the future. Consciousness has no beginning and it has no ending. I don't have consciousness. I am consciousness. I don't have awareness. I am awareness. I am aware consciousness. Now, take on the beingness of spirit self, the one self, the self-contained allness that is consciousness, that is the infinity of spirit itself being what you are, the infallible harmony being your every self experience. Now is the only time. Now is the finished kingdom. No more studying, no more trying, no more working hard to realize truth, no more labor and no more effort, because that's the no way. As we often say, you figure out, just like Thomas Edison, the countless ways that are the wrong way. And when the right way dawns, you're finally on the path of spiritual awakening. Spiritual awakening, which shocks many and possibly confronts many, it only begins when we accept what it is that I am and be it. Which only makes sense, doesn't it? You can't know spirit unless you are it. One must no longer allow oneself to be anything less than truthful and whole and our only actual self. Be honest. Be real. This is so much more real than the dream of personhood. Of course it is. Personhood is just an illusion. There's nothing real about it. That's why we call the absolute, the law of life, reality. There's just no reality to a person getting around doing person things, trying to be something, get something, have something, do something. So we be our only actual self as best we can each day and be prepared to be corrected. If we do continue to allow less than truthful self-experience, frankly, we are little more able to witness the all good of truth than a barrel full of sugar is able to. Our words of truth and our sincerity may be sweet. We see that a lot, but sweet without substance is inane, vacuous. What is now needed is beingness, being, not thinking. Be, that is all. Being is what finally, definitively dissolves the material sense that blinds experience, that blinds us from the reality that heaven is here, right where I am, nearer than breath, closer than hands and feet, here. Now, I don't make it so, it is so. The good of truth bursts through an individual experience as consciousness is spiritually illumined and one starts being rather than studying to be, rather than thinking about truth, rather than thinking, full stop. We be and let true wisdom, true omniscience reveal itself. And you can't stop it when you do. And you can't help but know and genuinely live tangibly, complete, infinite, eternal abundance. So why don't we just take a moment, reflect here, rejoice here, be now, and then we'll get into some questions.